Look at this magnificent painting and let your heart sing. A magical summer landscape in the Scottish Highlands. Vast, silent, drenched in green. Mountains fold into mountains under a sky that's half storm, half light. Waterfalls catch the sun as they thread down ancient rock faces. A turquoise loch glows in the valley below, so still it looks like a piece of fallen sky. And somewhere in the lower left, barely visible, a lone figure walks a dirt path with his dogs, swallowed whole by the scale of the land around him. It's breathtaking, and it was painted by a man who spent his entire life being told he was not a painter. He created over 10,000 illustrations, famous illustrations. He drew Dante's Inferno, Milton's Paradise Lost, the Bible, Don Quixote, Edgar Allan Poe. If you've ever pictured hell or Satan falling from heaven or Don Quixote charging a windmill, the image in your head is almost certainly his. He was the most famous illustrator who ever lived, and he hated it. "I illustrate today to pay for my paint and my brushes," he once said, "but my heart has always been with painting." The Paris Salon rejected his canvases. Émile Zola told him publicly to put down the paintbrush. He drew a self-portrait of himself as an old man with a laurel wreath and wrote beneath it, "Too many illustrations, not enough glory." And then, in 1873, he traveled to Scotland, and everything changed. Gustave Doré was invited to Scotland on a salmon fishing expedition by Colonel Teasdale, squire to the Prince of Wales. He went expecting to fish. Instead, he barely cast a line. He abandoned his rod almost immediately and picked up his sketchbook. What he found in the Scottish Highlands transfixed him. He sketched incessantly, filling page after page with landscapes of Aberdeenshire, Braemar, Balmoral, Ballater. He savored what he called this happy combination of peace and calm with which the majesty of nature always inspires me. He wrote afterward, "From now on, when I paint landscapes, I think 5 out of 6 will be reminiscences of the Highlands." He returned the following year, and from 1874 to 1881, he produced a series of Scottish landscape paintings that represented something no illustration assignment had ever given him: his own vision. Not Dante's or Milton's or the Bible's, his very own. The painting you're looking at is one of those, and it's my favorite. It was made in 1875, and it hangs today in the Toledo Museum of Art in Ohio. It's not exactly a real place. Doré painted it from memory, what the museum calls his reminiscences of the Highlands. It's more of a dream, a combination of all of the things that he saw in Scotland, a place he built in paint because the real world wouldn't let him be what he wanted to be. The Scottish Highlands are among the oldest landscapes on Earth. Mountains carved by glaciers over millions of years, their peaks worn smooth and round, their valleys gouged deep and filled with dark freshwater lochs. It's a land of peat bogs and purple heather, of granite ridges and sudden mist, where the weather can shift from sunlight to downpour in minutes, and the air carries the smell of wet stone and wild grass. That is what Doré captured. Cloud-wreathed mountains rise into a sky that is breaking open. Dark storm clouds on the left giving way to pale blue light on the right. Waterfalls thread down the hillsides like silver veins. The turquoise loch sits in the valley, and it's so still it seems to glow from within, in every shade of green imaginable. Emerald, moss, sage, and olive covers the hills and trees in layers so dense You can almost smell for yourself the wet earth. In the lower left corner, almost invisible, that tiny figure walks on a path with his 2 dogs, and what matters is how small he is. Doré has made the human figure nearly vanish against the scale of nature. This isn't a landscape with a person in it. It's a landscape that has swallowed, that has encompassed, that has inspired the person in it. And that's the whole point. Doré was a man who spent his entire career serving other people's visions, drawing what publishers told him to draw and illustrating what authors told him to illustrate, what was market, what was commodifiable. 10,000 images, and not one of them his own idea. But in Scotland, he found a landscape so vast that it made it all disappear into the background. The commissions and the critics, the Salon, the endless black and white engravings. Here, there was only color and light and blessed silence. By the age of 15, Doré was the highest paid illustrator in France. By 30, he had illustrated Dante, Cervantes, Rabelais, and the Bible. His Doré Gallery in London drew enormous crowds. He was decorated with the Cross of the Legion of Honor. That's the backstory. But the Paris Salon wanted nothing to do with him. Critics dismissed his canvases as the work of an illustrator playing at painting. Some even claimed he was colorblind. What an irony, because when I go into a museum and see a Doré, they are one of the first that stop me in their tracks with their understanding of color. Whistler said, "There is a difference between an artist and an illustrator, you know." Doré, he had bats in his belfry. He was not widely praised by his fellow competitors. But he painted nearly 200 canvases in the last 15 years of his life. It made no difference to him what others said. The French art world had decided what he was, and nothing he painted could change their minds. Before we go on, if this painting speaks to you in the same way that it spoke to me the first time I saw it in the Toledo Museum of Art in Ohio, you can purchase a beautiful, high-quality art reproduction from my website. The link is in the description of this video. Imagine this on your own wall. Those mountains, the light, the stillness that you can sink into. And a bonus, shipping is free anywhere in the country and in the world. It's included. So click the link below. Every purchase that you make helps me to continue making videos like this. These are not AI generated, they're from the heart. Now let me tell you how the story ends. Doré never married. He lived with his mother his entire adult life, and when she died in 1881, witnesses said he lost the will to live. On January 23, 1883, Gustave Doré died of a heart attack in Paris. He was only 51. At the time of his death, he was working on illustrations for Shakespeare. He was still illustrating, not free. After he died, his paintings were shipped to the United States for a touring exhibition that broke attendance records. They were placed in a Manhattan warehouse after that, and there they sat, rolled up and forgotten for nearly 50 years. It wasn't until 1947 that the canvases were rediscovered. One of the most prolific artists of the 19th century, and his paintings nearly rotted in storage because the world only focused on his illustrations. But the glorious Scottish Highlands survived and made its way to the Toledo Museum of Art, where it still hangs today. Those impossible greens, that luminous loch, those mountains that exist nowhere on any map because Doré compiled them from his own memory. It's not his most famous work. It contains few hidden symbols or secret messages, and no scandal, but it may be his most honest. This is the painting Doré made for himself and not for a publisher. It was the one that the Salon rejected. He painted his beautiful Scotland the way he remembered it and the way he wanted to be: wild, quiet, and free. If you've been to Scotland yourself, I'd love to hear how this compared to what Doré put together in his imagination based on his trips there. And if you'd like this painting for yourself, check out the link in the description below. Please leave a comment in the comment section. I still read them all myself. These are not AI-generated videos. They're chosen by me, the works that stop me in my tracks, and the ones that help us to understand art history from a new perspective. I'll see you in the next video where we continue to explore the great masterpieces and the great artists of our tradition.